Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. I'm your host, Joey Clark. Eddie Bader in the house.
How you doing, Joey?
Doing all right. And joining us on the phone now, folks, is Mobile Police Officer John Young. John, how are you this afternoon?
Doing well, very well indeed. We're dealing with the humidity here in Mobile, but other than that, I'm fine. Thank you guys for having me.
Well, I really appreciate you calling in. In a second, I'm going to reveal to the audience why you're calling, but I'm asking a lot of personal, selfish questions. I have an uncle in the family who's actually a Monsignor in the Roman Catholic Church, and I believe he's the vicar of the cathedral down there. You ever had to work in and around the big cathedral down there in Mobile?
I've not had pleasure, but now I have a reason to go by and ask.
Yeah, Bill Skonecki, Monsignor William J. Skonecki. He's a good man. Tell him I said hi. I think y'all will have common cause on a lot of things. So for folks who don't know you, I ran across your full story. You recently did an episode with Brian Dawson of 1819 News on 1819 News, the podcast. But you initially got known outside of Mobile from a viral video of you standing up and saying, we have to stop this glorification of violence, of this gun culture in particular with young black men. But for folks who don't know you, what's sort of the John Young 101?
I'm nothing. I'm nobody. I'm like the prophets of Paul and Peter when they said, hey, I'm a man just like you. The difference is my calling, the path that God has given me to walk. I'm walking it unreluctantly. I'm a middle-aged guy. I've been a cop 30 plus years. That's it. And I fear the Lord. And when the Lord put on my heart last year to speak out against the black on black violence here in Mobile, which resulted in an 11-year-old boy being shot and killed in his home and a 13-year-old girl, I could no longer keep silent. And most recently, 2 weeks ago, we had a 6-year-old shot inside his home. 3 times he's paralyzed and in a coma now. And the assailants have been arrested, and they were 3 urban terrorists. There were 3 black urban terrorists shooting into that home. So the John Young that everyone needs to know, the JY everyone needs to know, is the one that's making a stance and telling the truth that young black men must choose to stop killing and shooting, especially other young black men first.
Now, where do you think this comes from? Because I've often said about Montgomery, and I'm sure it's true, Mobile, or a lot of great cities in the state across the nation, that the vast majority of people, for the most part, we're all sinners, we all make mistakes, but the vast majority of people are doing the right thing at the end of the day and not going and shooting up, their fellow man. But a small group of folks can cause a lot of problems. Where do you think this glorification of this sort of lifestyle comes from?
Well, it started with the breakdown of the home. More than 80% of black children are born outside of marriage, pre-marriage. Once the home breaks down, once the Satanists remove the man from the home, there's no strength of structure of discipline and order. Then you go into the Moynihan report stated in the late 1960s that the greatest detriment to the black kids was the failure of the black family. Here we are, 2023, and 80% of kids are being born outside of wedlock. Then you add feminism, which told women they didn't need men. Then you add to that the crack cocaine epidemic of the 90s, perpetuated by black gang members against other black people. So we're 4 generations into black kids being born without a father in the home. And what has raised them? Well, television has. Materialism has. Bling bling and rap music has. And that's what we're dealing with. The music is violence because the subculture that has been created is violent. And we have to stop promoting it and celebrating it and calling it black culture. We have to call it wrong. If it's wrong to shoot and kill, it is wrong to shoot and kill anyone, and we cannot accept it from a certain segment of society. Listen, wait a minute. You guys have got me worked up on Monday. The number 1 cause of death for black men between the age of 15 and 35 is murder, gun homicide. The number 1 cause of death for white men in that same demographic is accident, drowning, and electrocution. What does that say?
Yeah.
Listen, if the history of Montgomery, the civil rights movement in Montgomery was so important, that should be ground zero for burying the N-word, for burying the gun black on black violence. If we are going to embrace the culture and the history of Montgomery, Alabama, then that should be the one place in America where there are no black people harming other black people.
Well, and to your point, especially about the culture that has become an artistic culture, I guess, in the hip hop and the rap world, The mayor, of course, we got an election tomorrow. Mayor Stephen Reed's having a concert, kind of a turnout, get people excited to go vote tomorrow. But some of the folks he's brought on, it actually, I have to admit, John, brings back memories of high school. I Deuce Conrad's and so many of these other guys. But all the songs are about, this glorification of violence, but also, moving drugs all over the country. Like, I mean, what do you think when you see an elected official, sort of associating with this?
I don't vote in Montgomery. I don't have any political inclination. Montgomery, vote your conscience. But when I, as a black man, have a stage, I have a platform as a police sergeant. I had an opportunity to speak out, and I've done that. When I have greater responsibility, when I grab greater power, I have greater responsibility. More people will listen to me because of the platform I have. So when a person has a platform where thousands of people will listen to them, they have to have a more positive message. We have to turn our back on this degrading, self-destructive, black-on-black violence promoting songs. I read the lyrics to these entertainers, and we had a campaign here in Mobile to bury the N-word because from the abundance of the heart speak of the mouth. If that's what you call yourself, then that's what you will behave as. If it's such a derogatory term, one thing we drag with us from slavery is that word. We don't think anything about slavery, but we throw that word around like Mardi Gras beads. We should not promote it. We should not condone it. We should speak out against it and stand up against it. Why do we promote the most self-destructive behavior in the world? And to hell with anybody saying I'm selling out. I'm a Christian saying love thy neighbor. Man has a role, responsibility, and duty to promote that. These lyrics of the songs were killing black men, shooting black men, selling dope to black men. Who wants to promote that? Why should that be encouraged? Montgomery is dealing with gun violence just like Mobile, just like Birmingham. Listen, a couple of weeks ago, the boat dock fight happened. And everyone rallied and said, oppression in Montgomery, what white folks doing. Since then, how many black men have been shot by black men in Montgomery? Since that boat ramp fight, how many black men have been beaten by black men or black women beaten by black women? What does that do besides say black folks beat up some white folks? Did it change any mind? Did it make the black people say, we got to stop treating each other like this. We got to stop promoting this. No, it didn't. Look in the mirror, Montgomery. Look in the mirror, Birmingham and Mobile. Look in the mirror and be honest with yourself. This self-destructive, self-promoting subculture of violence is killing black families. There, it's out. I said it. White folks, your racism isn't causing these black kids to kill each other. Now you don't have to worry about it anymore. The black family has broken. That's what's causing this. Anyone that promotes that, in my opinion, any black man, I always talk about men first. Men united against violence hold men accountable first. Any black man promoting that is not worthy of attention. He should be ignored. He would not have existed in the 60s. A black man promoting violence against black people would have been shunned.
Well, and also this entertainment that is out there. I mean, I can imagine your response. What about the folks say, well, this is just entertainment, talking about what they know. But then on top of that, this is like the entertainment push to the entire culture, to the entire Western world, right?
It is also you'll see the same behavior of black people in London and Paris, France. The subculture that has been created by rap music, and I'll make a distinction between rap and hip hop. I grew up listening to hip hop, Run DMC, Kid and Play, the Beastie Boys. They weren't shooting and killing. They weren't selling dope. They were entertaining us and educating us. We have rap music now that only speaks about materialism because the home broke down, because dad is there to tell his son, my boy ain't no punk and my daughter ain't no hoe. You couldn't call a woman the B word when I was coming up. It was a fight. Now women refer to themselves by that. This is a subculture. It is not a real culture. It's not always existed. It's been invented and created. Some people are making money off of it, and while other people are embracing it and holding it, hoping they can make money off of it.
Yeah, I never.
So the whole idea that it's not black culture, it's violent culture. I've never behaved that way, ever.
Well, and I never thought I'd see the day when I would see essentially former First Lady and Senator Hillary Clinton sitting there with her daughter talking about it's so great how women are so fierce these days. And what she's referring to is WAP. Which because we're promoting essentially Atlanta stripper culture is now, that's what a first lady and senator is really pushing.
So being a hoe is empowering. It's a whole lot for a woman to have sex. Men have to work for it. A woman can have a different sexual partner 5, 6, 7 times a day. That's not empowering. That's lack of self-control. A woman's dignity is in her femininity. Once she uses that up to be empowered, we don't want to marry you with a high mileage body, ladies. We'll take a 62 Mustang, but we don't want a woman with 62 men on her. How in the world did we get to the point that being empowered means taking off Lizzo half naked? That's empowering. A woman dancing, twerking on stage, the BET Award, black women showing their butts and their breasts. That's black achievement. The Essence Festival, which used to be the classiest time, you have black women on stage stripping. No, come on now, don't go for it. Hillary Clinton is also the same one that put on the falsetto Southern accent about 15, 20. I sure ain't nowhere. The black people that condescend to me, condescend to black people as if we have to speak in this broken dialect, as we have to be spoken to like children. That's insulting. That's insulting to suggest that black men have to kill one another because that's what they do. 9,900 black people were murdered in 2021 after the BLM riot. After the BLM riots against white oppression, the number one cause of death. A 6-year-old laying in a coma here in Mobile. Why are we speaking against black people killing each other? It takes one man in Mobile to say it. Why? Oh, I'll say it, and I tell someone to call me a liar. No one's called me a liar yet, guys. I've been called some names, but no one ever said I lied. And I dare anybody listening to me now to say I'm lying.
Well, and
black men, stand up, take back your home, take back your city. Our future depends on it. Looking at, if black people were looking for white people to solve their problems, the civil rights movement would not have occurred. There are some white brothers and sisters that helped, of course, but black people first stood up and said, we're leading this. Black men said, we're leading our family. Until that happens, you can wait for another. Listen. We know that at these types of concerts, with this type of music, there's a propensity for violence. If they have that concert or benefit or whatever it is, I hope no one gets shot.
Again, folks, we're talking to Mobile police officer John Young. If you want to hear more, the interview Brian Dawson just did with John, this is just scratching the surface of what they discussed. And I'm running out of time here, John, but I kind of want to end on this note because there is a lot of division out there. I can think of, you said people might call you a sellout. I can think of a lot of other names, that might be used that, oh, you're betraying us in some way. And I can also think of, situations I've been in where it's like, John, what you're saying is true, but don't say it in front of the white people. We're trying to fight the fighting.
Jesus he was fearless. Jesus went to everyone. He first went to the lost people of Israel, who ultimately were responsible for his death, but he told the truth. I work for the police. I'm representing myself. I want to make that very clear. I'm speaking to you guys as John Carlos Young, not Sergeant Young. But I want to make that clear because I don't want anyone associating the department with me. This is my personal opinion. I don't give a damn what anyone says. If I tell the truth, don't attack me personally. Attack what I've said. I'm only saying what everyone already knows. You already knows black men are killing each other in Montgomery. Everyone already knows how many black men have been shot since that boat dock fight. Everyone in Montgomery knows. Why aren't they bold enough to say, hey, we can unite in this incident. We should unite. Hey, you're not selling any more drugs to our black children. You're not making our sons crackheads anymore and our black women crack whores. We're not going to let you celebrate you having 9 babies by 9 different women. You're not a pimp. You're an idiot. No, black ladies, we're going to tell them no tropping and tropping, whatever you said, is not the definition of black beauty. I'm asking black men to stand up and make this statement. And I'm saying every man of God to stand up and make this statement. And I'm saying every man that loves his city to stand up and make this statement. I've not left anyone out in that, right? Every man has an obligation.
Amen.
And I believe my brothers in Montgomery, my white brothers in Montgomery, Mobile, Birmingham, Dothan, Tuscaloosa, and Bastrop, Alabama, you are not the cause of what is happening in black homes are. We are. And only we can solve it.
Well, John, great talking to you for this first time. I hope it's not the last time. I would love to have you back when I have more time, not in the middle of an election cycle, but I really appreciate the time you did give me today. And let's talk again soon. Really appreciate what you're saying, what you're doing. Sir.
Thanks,
sir.
Montgomery, talking about violence and trying to stop violence are not the same thing. Judge a tree by the fruit it bears before you vote tomorrow.
Well, John,
that's my case.
Thank you, sir. God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
John Young, as you said, he's speaking for himself. I mean,
powerful speaker.
Yeah, that was, I knew it was going to be good because I watched that podcast with Brian, but just talking to the fella.
Come with some passion, man.
And he's not pulling any punches.
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all.